but it also put some extra pressure on the Phillies, who had their first workout down in Clearwater. Joining us right now on the Comcast Business Hotline, does a tremendous job for the Inquirer. You should experience the new look of Inquirer Sports, where fans can read, watch, and listen to their favorite reporters and columnists. Go to Inquirer.com/sports. This is Scott Lauber on the Comcast Business Hotline. How are you, Scott? Thanks for coming on.
I'm doing well, guys. How are you?
Doing pretty well. I mean, you can't be doing much better after the Super Bowl, but we now turn to the Phillies as spring training begins, and you saw the level. Obviously, you covered the Phillies, but you saw the level at which this Eagles team played at. I want to ask you, going into camp, with a lot of, so I know it's very early. No one's going to remember if you get this right or wrong. How far away are the Phillies for being a championship team like the Eagles just were?
I don't think they're very far away, guys. I didn't think that they were far away last year, even though they didn't play long into October. You guys know how it goes. You've got to play well, and you've got to play well at the right time. The Mets played well at the right time last year, beat the Phillies. I don't think the Mets were a better team than the Phillies on paper last year. I don't think that they were a better team than the Phillies for much of the season last year. I think their Phillies are close. I really do. And I think people are a little restless, understandably so, because they ran it back mostly again with the same roster for the second year in a row now, third year in a row, really. Didn't make a ton of changes. But I think they're still a pretty well-rounded team. You talk to scouts around the league, as I do. You talk to executives around the league, and they tell you they think the Phillies are still a very well-balanced team. So while everyone's focused on the Dodgers and the Mets, I think the Phillies are right there with that group of really, really elite teams in the National League.
There wasn't a huge splash in the offseason. I mean, Luzardo's a good one, but what do you think of all the starting pitching depth?
Actually, you're reading my mind. I literally just filed a story about it. And that's, you talk to people around here with the Phillies, and that's their biggest reason for being optimistic. Like, of course, players and front office people and Rob Thompson, they're going to tell you they like their chances. But I was asking, why do you think you should be talked about in the same sentence as the Dodgers and the same sentence as the Mets and the Braves? And the biggest answer you get from them, the thing they like most about their club, is their starting pitching, both the quality and the depth of it. They went, 4 deep last year with Wheeler, Nola, Sanchez, and Suarez. Now they're 5 deep if you have Luzardo. Andrew Painter's coming at some point this season, probably by the summertime. They've got Joe Ross, who's kind of a swingman who can start or relieve depending on what they need. So they think they're deeper, and they think that their quality is better. They think that their quality is better than most teams. They have guys who pitch deeper into games than most teams do. In an age where bullpenning is the thing, right, and starters are asked to do less and less, the Phillies are a little bit of a throwback in that way, in that they still ask their starters to carry a pretty heavy load. And they've gotten pretty good the last few years at keeping them healthy as well. I think Wheeler and Nola are 3rd and 4th in innings pitched in baseball in the last 2 years, and they're both right up there in the last 3 or 4 years as well. So they've gotten good at keeping them healthy. They rely on them a lot, and they think that, like, relative to most other teams, that their rotation stacks up. Now, I mean, look at the Dodgers, right? They keep adding pitching. They added Blake Snell. They added Roki Sasaki. They're going to get Ohtani back as a pitcher. That's a team that goes 5 deep in its rotation. The Yankees look like they go 5 deep. The Mariners go 5 deep in their rotation. Not a whole lot of teams beyond that. So the Phillies like, as I said, the depth of that rotation and the quality of it. They think that's what really should help separate them from a lot of other teams this year.
We're speaking with Scott Lauber. He does a tremendous job covering the Phillies for the Inquirer as pitchers and catchers had their first workouts today. The lineup, we're hearing rumors of things they may try. What do you think they're going to try as far as the top of this order? And then also, what do you think they end up settling in by opening day?
So I was asking Rob Thompson some questions about that today in his little availability or press conference, whatever you call it, after the workout that they had. And I thought I got some hints from his answers. I mean, I asked him if one thing he has not done much of in the last few years is have one lineup for righties and one lineup for lefties. A lot of teams do that in this day and age, and I asked if he was thinking about that. So, in other words, maybe you lead off Trey Turner against a lefty and Kyle Schwarber against a righty. He said probably not, at least at the top of the order. He said he kind of would like to keep the top of the order pretty static, no matter who they face, righty or lefty. So that tells me he's probably going to try to settle on one leadoff guy again and go from there. I asked him if he is as sort of much of a fan of the alternating right and left as much as he has in the last few years. Like, he loves to have lefty, righty, lefty, righty. He said, yes, he is. However, there could be some situations where, with the way Schwarber hits lefties and the way Harper hits lefties, maybe there's a scenario where where he could bat lefties back to back, something like that. Didn't sound like he was real in love with that situation. I don't know. I think he's going to look at a lot of different things. I think he's going to look at Trey Turner in the leadoff spot here in spring training. I think that would be the most likely alternative to Schwarber. If he's going to move Schwarber out of the leadoff spot, it would be for Turner. So I think they'll look at it. I do wonder, though, whether at the end of the day, it's Rob Thompson. He's been Mr. Consistency with his lineup. Whether he looks at it, he just can't. It's hard to get past how much they win when they have Schwarber in the leadoff spot. They have, I forget what the record is. I wrote it the other day. It's an overwhelming record the last 3 years with Schwarber in the leadoff spot. I do wonder whether after a lot of the experimentation we might see in spring training, if they just come back to the fact that, look, they win with Schwarber batting leadoff, and maybe that's the way they go again.
All right, I have a question about the catcher position. Obviously, JT had his knee issues last year, and I know Rob Thompson's answer was, if we can get JT to buy into this. I think, number one, we all know that he needs less days behind the plate. Then who is the answer as the backup?
Yeah, that's probably going to be. And look, I guess if the hottest competition in camp is for backup catcher, then I guess your roster's
not a bad thing.
Pretty well set. Yeah, but that's going to be something to watch because it's sort of reversed, right? I mean, Garrett Stubbs is the incumbent, right? He's the guy who's been here the last 3 years in that role, but he's probably the underdog in this competition because he has options. He can go to the minor leagues without exposure to waivers. Rafael Marchand can't. And so if you're looking to keep depth in the organization, the way to do it is Marchand's on the team and Stubbs goes to AAA. And it's very possible that that's how it shakes out. It's not like they have a ton of catching depth in the organization. In fact, they have very little. And so I think they're interested in keeping both of those guys around. Who knows? I mean, maybe you could get Rafael Marchand through waivers at the end of spring training, and he can go to AAA. I don't know if they want to take that chance. So, I think they give Marchand a shot at it. Now, the problem with Marchand is he hasn't been able to stay healthy throughout his career. So you wonder, and that's the other thing. You very well might need Garrett Stubbs at some point because Marchand could go down or JT could go down for a little while. So. I think you need all three, and I think in the interest of preserving your depth, the way to do it is Marchand's on the team and Stubbs is in AAA, but we'll see.
Well, we really appreciate you spending a little time with us down there. It's literally football season took us directly to spring training, like no break at all. Like, this is unbelievable.
I know.
Go ahead.
Literal handoff from one to the other, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Worked out great.
Yeah, not a pass, literally like a handoff, like you just said.
Gave it right to us.
Yep, unbelievable. Enjoy yourself as down there and all that stuff, and we'll be checking it with you often, as you know. Appreciate it.
All right, talk to you guys soon. Thanks.
All right, that was Scott Lauber from the Inquirer. He does a great job covering for them. Go to inquirer.com/sports. Man.
Hey everybody, thanks for watching our YouTube. If you want to help us out, go ahead and like and subscribe for us. If you liked what you saw, go right over here to our playlists and pick out whatever you want to watch.